Welcome to this video that will help you turn dreams into reality. So I'm going to show a mind map that puts together recommendations from my Time Finder community. I hope you will find it very useful. So if we look at this, what we're talking about is dreams, intentions, long-term goals, whatever you want to call it. And how do I make sure that my everyday life brings me closer and closer? These are the recommendations from us. We're saying one way is to go from these intentions and visions to actions that you can actually do with work breakdown structures. A very straightforward and a common or conventional way of getting things done. Another way is to move from who you are to who you want to be by changing your habits step by step. And then we suggest habit tracking. The third way is envisioning and experiencing, visualizing where you're going to go, letting things unfold. These are the three ways we are recommending, and you can use one, two, or all three of them. Regardless of which one, we want to also talk about how you can help yourself move forward, remembering that progress is rarely linear, so don't get discouraged when things don't always work out exactly as you expected. So let's look at each of these. We start with the classical conventional thing. We use work breakdown structures. We look at where we are, and then we divide down the work until we have actions we can do regularly. So we'll start with these intentions. Your intentions might be a vision board. That's the way I use it. Or actually, I have you could call it a vision presentation that I've made in Canva, the things I want to eventually achieve. And then I look at these. Typically, I do that yearly. What out of these things, where do I want to be at the end of the year? So I create yearly intentions. They're still intentions, not super detailed. Based on that, I create quarterly goals. Here you can choose if you want to do kind of back planning. You look, okay, if at the end of December I'm going to be here, then I want to be here by the end of quarter 3, and here by the end of quarter 2, and here at the end of quarter 1. I usually kind of go for a feeling. If I'm going to be there at the end of December, then quarter 1 goals are probably these. Once you have a quarterly goal, say quarter 1, then it's easier to set your goals for March, February, and January. And by the way, of course, you can start now, even if it's not the end of or beginning of a year when you're watching this. And then the monthly goals, okay, what do I want to achieve in each of the months in this quarter? Now it starts to get really tangible. So now we can definitely call it goals and actions. And once you have like, okay, this is what I want to achieve in, say, March, it's going to be rather easy for you when you make a weekly plan. Okay, I'll take a few of these actions into my plan. And then when you have your weekly plan, you can put it into daily plans. That way, you will continuously move closer instead of having that goal far, far off. It will become something that is there in your everyday life. Important to remember here is that make the follow-up fun. And that can mean involving someone else, because maybe you have dreams that are yours and yours only, and these plans are yours and yours only, but your progress towards them, and or even maybe how you divide them, if you share them with someone, they become more real and hopefully more fun. And find a rhythm and format that work for your follow-up. My own, for instance, every day I write down things that have gone well, and things I have achieved. And every week I share that with my husband. So that's one way of follow-up. And then I do every month, I check where am I compared to where I want it to be. And every quarter I do it together with my husband. And then, of course, yearly. So find a rhythm that works for you. How often do you want to follow it up? And the important thing is to not think that the plan is holy in any way. Always remember what I say in my courses about time. Planning is everything. Plans are nothing, though. The plans are just something you made up, but the planning itself helps you. So adjust as you go. For instance, I had things quarter 1. A lot of them happened as I planned. but 2 didn't. One, I did take my part of the action, but then I was interacting with other people, and that took longer than I thought. So, okay, the conclusion would have to move into Q2. Another thing was completely in my hands, but I realized, hey, the timing, it doesn't really matter if it's Q1, but I really want to work deeper and more with this. So I decided that I'll move this from March to April. So I really hope you have grasped that you don't have to adhere strictly to a plan, just make it help you. So that was the first step, or the first version of what we can do to make that big dream become something we can work on regularly. We go from intentions to actions that we can do often, and we use work breakdown structures. Another way is that if we're looking at goals or intentions about who we are, who we want to be, how we want to act, habit changes are a big part of that. Sometimes we say that you are your habits, right? And that means that if you want to change who you are, how you are, you need to change some habits. And then we strongly recommend that you use habit tracking. So again, you can have your intentions. Maybe that's a vision board, maybe that's something else. You start there and look at, okay, which ones of these are not really, I'm going to do this and achieve that. It's going to be more that I'm going to change things I do regularly. So define habits to add, to remove, or to change. Once you have figured out, okay, these are habits that I want to change, add or remove, use a habit tracker. So a basic habit tracker simply is like a new day, and then you cross off, yes, I did or I did not. I usually go for one. I use the same structure as I do in my Beyond Efficiency habit tracker about becoming a person who manages time naturally. Then I use green, red, yellow, right? If things have really worked out as I wanted, I did stick to my new habit. Wonderful, I put in green that day. And if not, I was like close, but no cigar, that's yellow. And I go, oh, I forgot all about it, then it's red. The great thing with that is that it becomes very visual and I can easily see patterns. So a habit tracker helps you stay motivated. If you know you're going to follow it up at the end of the day, you're way more likely to actually change that habit. Also, it helps you recognize progress, because the reason we're talking here about intentions and dreams are they're usually bigger than a goal that I know exactly what steps to take and achieve them. This can be you don't really know what's going to happen on the way. Things are elusive, and that means it's also hard to see progress, right? Things, after a while, you might notice, oh, now I'm there. But on the way, it can feel like you're not moving at all. But thanks to the habit tracker, you can see progress. You might see that it's less red, it's getting more yellow, it's getting more green. Yes, I still do some of the old things, but I do it less. So it helps you to recognize progress, and recognizing progress is a great antidote to impatience or to giving up because, I'm not getting anywhere, right? So that's a great part of using a habit tracker. It can also help you see patterns. Maybe you notice that, okay, it seems I have a hard time sticking to the new habit on weekends, or I have a hard time whenever I'm traveling, or I have a hard time when. And then you can help yourself. Do I want to think that it's okay that I deviate from this new habit on weekends? Could be. Could be that you decide that my goal is actually not exactly what I thought it would be. Or you help yourself by adjusting your environment and say that on weekends, I need to remind myself this or that way. Then an important part is that we also need to add the habit of tracking habits, because there's no point with a habit tracker that you fill in every 3-4 days, right? And I started out first when I did this I'll do it at the end of the day, because it felt like, yeah, then I know how the day really turned out. However, by the end of the day, very often I had closed the computer, I had logged off, and that's like, oh yeah, I was going to do that. And since I do it in an Excel sheet, I prefer doing it on my computer, and I didn't want to log in again. Like, I'll do it tomorrow. So I changed to, okay, I'm going to do it after dinner. Right, my computers are still up, and I know enough of the day to do so. And I even added it to my daily plan. If you ever worked with me about planning, you know that I suggest a daily plan. So in my daily plan is simply as an entry after my dinner time, HT, habit tracker. So add the habit of tracking habits, and then you can add that to your daily plan so you don't forget it. And if you forget it once, fine, you fill in for 2 days the day after, but get the habit in there. And the important thing, again, as always, keep it fun. That can be by involving someone else. And especially if you have one of these very visual ones, it's easy to share with someone, and you can see that, hey, now it's more green, or now it's less red, and whatever you want to do. So make it fun. As always, enthusiasm is important for anything. So that's about how to move from who you are to who you want to be with the means of habit tracking. The third way we suggest or recommend is to go from dreams to reality by envisioning and experiencing. So the work breakdown structure way is classical and straightforward. This is more using all these ideas about laws of attraction and creating a reality by changing your attitudes, your mindset, your mind, by attracting things, etc. Let's tap into that too. Why not? So make your dreams feel like your current reality. So instead of making them feel like something, yeah, maybe one day, make them feel like your current reality. And we can do that by surrounding ourselves with different cues. I have mentioned vision boards, and I hope you understand what I mean about that, but that we put together, typically pictures can also be text or colors, just so something that gives you the feeling you want to do. And we put them everywhere. That's what I mean with surround yourself. It can be on your background on your computer, on your phone. It can be printed out in your home. It can be in your back pocket or in your purse or in your whatever. So you often see it. So you surround yourself, for instance, with a vision board. Nowadays, it's rather easy to make vision films. So if you think I'll feel even more like that dream if I see it as a film, right now I am recording myself with Zoom. You can record anything there, or use any of the other ways of creating films, and find there are plenty of free video editing tools available as well, and create something with sound, music, moving things that make you feel like it's happening here and now. Music, for me, is definitely something that can change state immediately. So that's something that you can use. What music makes me feel like that dream? Can I put a playlist together and listen to it? And why not use smells? I use different perfumes for different things. So if I have a day filled with client meetings or coaching, I typically have one perfume. It kind of puts me in that mode. Now I know that's what I'm going to do. If I'm going out on a concert, I have a specific perfume. And when I feel that one, like, oh yeah, and it brings me back to one of the concerts I've been to. So we can reinforce so much by surrounding ourselves with cues that make our dreams feel like our current reality. That way we can kind of experience bits and pieces of our dreams. And maybe we can take a day out and do exactly what that dream is. We can do something. If we can't do the full dream, we can do something which is like it, and then imagine vividly. You might have heard this thing about our brain not knowing if what we are thinking is just our imagination or if it has really happened. And if your brain feels like it is happening all the time, we're more likely to get that reality around us. And then one day you will notice that your dreams have become reality. And if this sounds a bit woo-woo, there are plenty of examples of people who have done this and things worked out. And I've talked to people who have created their vision boards and then looked at it like quite some time after and like, hey, that has all happened. So we have these 3 ways, and in all 3 ways, it's very important to stay in the race, not give up. So we also have a few recommendations here about how to keep going, because progress is rarely linear, and we can't count on the progress and the changes around us to keep us motivated. We need to find it inside. So first of all, be aware there will be ups and downs. It's not a matter of, oh, I hope everything is going to work exactly as planned and every day will get better. Now, sometimes it'll feel worse, feel like you're going backwards or standing still. There will be ups and downs. Be aware of that. And remember, what's important is to stay in the race, even if you move slow. That's the key. Let's not go for some kind of perfection or dream idea about that things can work out exactly as I want. Let's keep it up. Stay in the race. You can even have a plan for how to stay on track. So if you know that, okay, I'm usually all excited and happy when I'm starting out something, but after 1 or 2 or 3 months, I typically have a problem. Then it's good to have a plan for what do I do after 1 month, 2 months, 3 months to keep this going. Or if you notice that I'm always hyped up and happy in the spring, but I have a hard time in the autumn. And I know this might sound silly depending on where you're from, but I'm from Sweden and I know a lot of people who think like the dark part of the year, things can be really difficult. And you might have something like that, or you know that this is going to work out great. But if I have a super intense period at work, I might lose traction. So you can define where you think this can be difficult, things might go wrong, and then have a plan. How do I deal with that thing? One way can definitely be an accountability partner, someone who helps you. Coach can be the same as well, but a friend, whatever, someone who helps you move forward. You can prepare an activity menu that is used sometimes in other ways of things that boost your mood or help you get back on track. Okay, so when it's getting difficult, what do I do? And then you already have prepared a few things that can be your appetizer, something quick that I can do. Or you might have the main meal, something that I need if it's really difficult and I do have a possibility to take a big grip again. Be prepared so that you're not getting lost when things become difficult. Remember to be your own best friend, always. These are your dreams, your plans. There's no one here to judge you and say you should have done it better or whatever. Skip that. Be your friend. And remember to enjoy the journey. I hope these recommendations from my Time Finder community are helpful for you when you move from your dreams to your reality.